I got DJ Bean in studio with me, Ty Anderson from the Sports Hub joining us remotely. DJ, I'm going to start with you. Do you agree with the Bruins, trying to go for one last run of some sort, or should they start the rebuild at some point, maybe sooner than later?
Given the position they're in right now, and I agree with you, Trenni, everything that you said off the top is correct, but I think that what you're arguing for is for Don Sweeney to not be here anymore, for them to blow out the front office and take a new path. If they are going to be taking the path that they are taking, you already have Marchand and Pastrnak and McAvoy. Those guys are already here. This is going to be your team either way. You already don't have those young prospects. So if this is going to be your team and you're going to be a fringe playoff team, I say you might as well bring Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci back and go from being maybe a wild card team to maybe the third or potentially second team in the Atlantic. I think it's worth doing if this is already the bed you've kind of made.
Yeah, there was no way that they were going to tank out of the picture. There's no way. Even at their very worst, they have too many guys who know how to play hockey. If you were trying the top 3 pick, which is what you'd want to do with this year's draft, considering how deep it is, you would need to trade Pastrnak. You need to trade McAvoy. You need to trade Lindholm. You were not going to bottom out, because the teams that bottom out go out of their way to truly bottom out. Chicago, Philadelphia, even Arizona. I mean, you weren't going to get there, so you may as well have a little fun with it, which is what they're doing here.
Well, the Bruins did, guys, stay quite busy today. In addition to Bergeron and Krejci, the Bees also signing Pavel Zacha to a 1-year, $3.5 million deal. So Zacha, Bergeron, and Krejci will count just $7 million against the cap for this upcoming season. Today, Bergeron explained why he's taking less.
I think leaving a few on the table to make sure you're a competitive team and you're a good team and that it carries on for years. I think that's, to me, makes a big difference. And I think that's how you want to play the game. You want to play the game to win. You want to play the game to be successful. You want to play the game to have friendships and memories.
So, Ty, I think on the surface, these deals look great, right? $2.5 million plus $2.5 million in incentives for Patrice Bergeron feels like a steal. Same with the deal for David Krejci. But are they a steal, or is this something that in the end could actually come back and haunt the Bruins?
Yeah, let's be clear about this. This is Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci making a decision. They want to play pro hockey. They want to do it here. So the contract is an easy contract to sign. The three of us could have done that, honestly. And so I don't want to give the Bruins too much credit here for saying, hey, Bergeron, Krejci, take less to play here. They were going to do that. They love it here that much. Now, as for how the contract sort of shakes out here, assuming David Pastrnak is re-signed and assuming that these bonuses are met, which they will be, you now have about $11.5 million to build next year's team. Now, that is including Jeremy Swayman needs a contract. Pavel Zacha may need a new contract as well if you want to keep him around. So the bill will come due, but this is what happens when you put off paying the bill for 8 years now. They've traded countless first-round picks, countless second-round picks. So for them, it's probably whatever, our future stinks anyways. May as well add another rock to it.
Yeah, Ty, I was going to have a meltdown today. God bless you. You were probably the only hockey person I follow on Twitter that didn't have some sort of misunderstanding over these contracts. This is what they did with Jarome Iginla, where they signed him to a $1.2 million contract, and if he successfully put on his skates, you get $3.7 million more, and if you score one goal, okay, there's another million. This, as you said, Ty, the bill is going to come due. What they're essentially doing is putting these contracts on a credit card, which is okay if you think, you know what, we're going to stink in 2023, 24 anyway, who cares? But please, folks, make no mistake, while the total money to Patrice Bergeron, $5 million, is a steal, and $3 million for David Krejci is a steal, this is $5 million, and this is $3 million. They will have to pay this. It will go up against next year's cap. And as you said, Ty, you mentioned Jeremy Swayman, $4.5 million on next year's cap. That right there is your Jeremy Swayman raise. Had you not done something like this, you would have had that dough to play around with. So the only thing that I know for certain about these signings is that it's going to hurt them in 2023, 2024, unless they do what a lot of people want and just absolutely tank.
So will it hurt their chances of signing a David Pastrnak? Would a David Pastrnak, I keep asking this, would he even want to sign here?
This can only help. David Krejci's back. he likes David Krejci. Patrice Bergeron's back. He likes Patrice Bergeron. And no matter who he plays with, Trenni, this top six, for as much as we want to make fun of Don Sweeney and his team building, a top six of Marchand, Bergeron, DeBrusk, Hall, Krejci, Pastrnak is freaking sick, even if some of those guys I just mentioned are 80 years old. So David Pastrnak, even if he doesn't sign right now or for the rest of the offseason, is probably going to enjoy a good, productive season, which will have him in better spirits for re-signing than, say, a what are we doing season, which they very well likely would have had if they didn't bring these guys back.
Yeah, and let's not sleep on what they've done here in terms of bringing in Pavel Zacha. Zacha was a line mate of David Pastrnak on the national team. He's friends with Jacob Zaboral. Like, they're trying to do things to make David Pastrnak comfortable and sign a contract to be here long term. They're going to pay him. They will pay him the Nikita Kucherov contract. They will pay him the Matthew Tkachuk contract. It really is about getting him to say, you like it here, right? Look at all the things we're doing for you. And as it relates, we talked about Jerome McGinley a little bit, that contract. There was a bit of a handshake agreement there, if memory serves, that he was going to do this again. He would sign another bonus incentive contract the following year, almost like Mark Recchi, and he'd stick around. Do they have that with Krejci or Bergeron here moving forward? And does that give Pastrnak some comfort there? But I think what they've done here is really try to make Pastrnak feel that this is where he wants to be for the next 8 years after this year.
All right, guys, one sentence answer to this. And Ty, we'll start with you. How far, with all these moves that the Bruins have made, how far do they get next year when the postseason rolls around?
Barring another player breaking out, second round.
So you took my answer. I was going to say they're back home, which is losing in the second round of the Lightning.
Oh, boy. Oh.
The worst spot to be in, except for losing first round to Toronto. That can never happen. Please, I don't want to deal with that.